Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can. In the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers about hikers for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast, where we talk about the continual pursuit of the section hiker.
And I'll spread the word, and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Jester Section Hiker, the premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers. And I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. I am actually recording my intro today from my local nature preserve. It's called Latta Plantation Nature Preserve, just north of Charlotte, North Carolina, in a little suburb called Huntersville, North Carolina. And on any given week, you can find me out here on the local trails, and I just love it. And the other day, when I was out doing my hike after work, I got to thinking that I miss recording from the trail. Had such a great time recording this summer and getting that information out to you guys about what was going on the trail and all that wonderful stuff. I thought, you know what? I think I'll just record this intro while I'm walking out here at Latta Plantation. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this episode. It's going to be a little bit different because I'm going to answer a question that was asked of me last summer, and I really didn't know how to answer the question, so I just didn't answer it. And the question was, what is your most important piece of gear that you carry with you? And I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, don't know if I can answer that right now, but let me think about it. And the answer is, there is really not one piece of gear that I carry that is more important than the other piece of gear that I carry. And the other day, like I said earlier, when I was out hiking, I don't know, the answer just came to me. And it's actually going to sound odd, but it is actually my day pack and everything that I carry inside my day pack. And the reason that I say my day pack is because I utilize my day pack way more than I utilize my overnight backpack. And probably 10 months or even 11 months out of the year, I will use my day pack 95% more than I will my backpack. So my day pack is a vital piece of gear and everything that goes in it, because even when I'm out section hiking in the summer, I use it for slack packing. I use it for day hiking on the trail. I can use it for an overnight. It's kind of pushing it with 2 overnights. So that's my answer to that question. My most important piece of gear to me is my day pack and everything that goes inside that pack. And I will get a little more in depth on that once we get into the episode. because this episode is going to be all about what is in Jester's day pack and why. And due to some things that happened this summer, what I have changed or added in that day pack. So thanks for coming back. For those of you that are new, welcome to the podcast. And I'm going to finish my hike here at my local nature preserve, and I will be back with you with what's in Jester's day pack. All right, everybody, before we actually get into the meat of this episode of what's in Jester's day pack, I've got to give you a little bit of a backstory, honestly, of how I figured out what to put in the thing. And back 13 years ago in 2006, I was obsessed with adventure racing. Like, there was a show on TV called the Eco Challenge, Primal Quest, and watching Survivor. And two of my girlfriends and I, shout out to Dinah and Katie, they were also obsessed, and we were on like an all-women's triathlon team together. Yeah, I said triathlon. That's for a whole nother episode. And the three of us, because we were obsessed with adventure racing, we decided that we were going to compete and complete an adventure race. And at the time, back in 2006, there was an Olympic training site that just opened north of the city in Charlotte called the U.S. National Whitewater Center. And we saw on a flyer at a running store that they were going to have a class, and you could learn anything and everything that you needed to learn about adventure racing, how to read a compass, and what you needed in your pack, because when you did adventure racing, there was mandatory and required gear. And we were like, yes, we are going to learn how to navigate in the woods. We are going to learn what to carry. And that's kind of how I learned to carry what I carry in my day pack, was adventure race training class. And back then, they didn't call it the 10 essentials. I mean, they just called it pretty much required gear that you had to carry in your pack while you were in the race. And at various checkpoints during the race, you had to stop and they would check your gear. So we actually went to, from what I remember, we went to a couple classes, and then we went to a training adventure race where various guides and whatnot would help us navigate, make sure we were going the right way, and it was kind of like a mini race. And we did really well with that. And each one of us had our areas of various strength and whatnot, and mine was reading the maps. Well, let me go ahead and tell you, yes, I can read a compass. Yes, I can figure out how to orient north, but I am not the greatest at it, and I still need help. So that's kind of how I figured out what to carry in my day pack, and I never really varied from that or thought a thing about it. Now, fast forward to the summer of 2014, when I was out section hiking on the Appalachian Trail trying to complete my first section hike. I was actually slack packing or day hiking south up over Mount Moosilauke, which is the mountain that is kind of the gateway to the White Mountains. For those of you going north, it's kind of the first introduction to the Whites, and for those of you that would be hiking south on the Appalachian Trail, it's kind of like the last mountain. Hooray! I've done everything I need to do in Maine and New Hampshire, and now I can have a good time in Vermont and on down to the south. So that morning, I'll make a long story short, we were climbing up that steep incline that goes along a waterfall, and I slid back and dislocated my shoulder, had to utilize my spot device, and various other things happened, and everything ended up being a-okay. But when I designated my spot device, it actually designated the Wildlife Game and Refuge of New Hampshire, to come out to the trail and, start looking for me and all that good stuff. So when they came upon me on the trail, one of the guys said, "Hey, ma'am, we're going to need to take your pack, and we're going to need to check it off of our checklist and make sure you have everything in here that the state of New Hampshire requires you to have when you are out hiking on the trails. And when you designate rescue, if you do not have these items, the state of New Hampshire can fine you. And I was like, you know what? You can take that pack. You can keep it, because at this point I may never hike again, blah, blah, blah. So make another long story short, they came back, brought me my pack, and said, you have everything in here that we require. Food, water, shelter, a way to get warm, and all the essentials, that you would need on the trail to stay, overnight, at least for one night. And I didn't think anything about it. I was like, well, that is awesome. So honestly, from 2006 to 2014 to 2020, what I carry has not changed, because this is the way I look at it. If adventure racing requirements and the state of New Hampshire say to me, you're good, then I figure I'm good. So just wanted to give you that little backstory, because it really has been a huge effort and dialing in process, but it started back in 2006 and not much has changed. Now stuff may be upgraded, but without further ado, let's get into this list. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started on this list. I am calling Jester's Day Hike Gear List. And I am actually still out at the Nature Preserve. I am on a side trail, sitting on a bench looking out at the water, and figured this would be an awesome place to record this gear list. So let's get started. The pack I am currently using is a ULA Photon pack. It is a 35-liter pack, and I've actually been using this about a year, and I have no issues with it. It is a really simple pack. It has a roll top, cinch down type closure. It does have side pockets on the waist belt and a sternum strap, and other than that, it's pretty simple. It does not have a frame. And I think that's one of the reasons that I actually particularly like this pack, because it's pretty simple. It is made out of their highest end X-Pack material in an all black, which I really like. And I don't know the number of the X-Pack, but it is on their website. So if you are interested, I think it is ultralightequipment.com. You can go on there and take a look at that pack. The next thing I want to talk about that's really important to me, that I don't think a ton about, but it is always on my day pack and always on my backpack, is I carry a whistle. And it seems kind of silly, and I know some packs are now made with a whistle on the sternum strap, but what I have found is a lot of times the built-in whistles are not as loud as a whistle that you could buy and just attach to your sternum strap. And another hint on that, every couple years, get a new whistle, because the inside components of the whistle will rust and then it will no longer work. So a whistle is vitally important and something that I always have on the outside of my pack. The next thing that I carry is a communication device, and the one that I use is the Spot Generation 3. And I know there's several different communication devices out there. There's the Spot, there's the Garmin InReach, there's various types within the brands, but I have always carried a Spot. I had the original Spot that came out back in 2009 and have just always carried a communication device with me. I know some people are, well, I'm not really going to carry that, and some people are very adamant about carrying one. I am very adamant about carrying one now because I've had to use it, and I think it's vital for family members because you can send them a message and when your cell phone is not working and basically say, hey, I'm good to go. I've made it to the campsite. You can set up a pre-recorded message. And I just think that's important all the way around, not only for yourself if you get into an emergency situation, but for your family members back at home that they can track you, they can follow you, and they can know where you are. My next thing that I have is for my water filtration is I do carry a Catadine B-free water filter. I've actually been using this water filter since 2018. My first trip with this water filter was in Utah when I hiked the Narrows, and it worked phenomenal. And ever since then, I have been using that system. And I do like the 1 liter bottle because the soft flask, so to speak, because it does allow me to have another liter of water to carry and not have to carry another plastic bottle. And the reason I don't want to carry a plastic bottle is because I actually use a water bladder. So I also use the Platypus Big Zip EVO Reservoir. That's the official name for it, water bladder. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I have always carried a water bladder. And I started off using the Camelback bladder back in 2006 and basically switched over to the Platypus, I don't know, probably 2009, 2010, and have been using that ever since. I do usually get a new bladder every season. They're not that much. I think they're like $39.95 or something like that. I have tried to switch over to the 2 bottles, but I have just found that the bladder works best for me. Another 2 items that I always carry in my day pack, pretty much no matter what, even if it is hot temperatures outside, are my Marmot pre-sip rain jacket and my Marmot pre-sip rain pants. And I know there's a lot of controversy over that, meaning some people are like, oh, I never carry rain pants. Why do you do that? Well, I do that because I know me and I know my body. And it doesn't matter if it's 90 degrees outside. If something happens and I've been sweating, I can get cold rather quickly, and I am a cold sleeper. So no matter if it's day hiking or overnighting in the temperature, I always have my Marmot rain gear. And the one thing that I will say about the Marmot pre-sip rain jacket, I love that jacket for 2 reasons. One, because on the wrist, there is Velcro on the wrist and you can adjust that. So if you're wearing it in the winter, you can adjust it over your gloves. If you're wearing it in the summer, you can adjust that and pull those sleeves up. It also has pit zips that I like a lot for summer hiking. And probably the main thing that I like about that jacket is the hooded portion of the jacket is actually separate from the neck portion. So there's a lot of times on trail that you'll have your rain jacket on and you'll have to pull your hoodie up to make sure that portion of material covers your neck, but not with the pre-sip jacket. It is actually separate pieces. So you could zip up all the way up to your neck and not have to have your hoodie on. So that is one of the main reasons that I like that jacket. A couple seasonal items that actually come in and out of the pack depending on temperature. The first one is, and I love this thing, the Patagonia Houdini. It's like a windbreaker jacket, and this thing literally weighs nothing and folds up into basically a wallet-sized pouch. And that Houdini jacket is awesome for in the morning when it's a little bit chilly and you want to put something on, but you don't want to put your rain gear on, or you don't want to wear a fleece or something like that. And it's awesome for day hiking. And also there's those times when you stop to eat and you get a little chilled. It's a great jacket to have on. And I think that jacket runs around $99, but in the off season, you can find those on sale a lot. So that is the Patagonia Houdini. And depending on, like this summer, I mean, when it was 90 degrees outside, I did not carry that. But this fall, when I start doing some weekend hikes in Western North Carolina, that will definitely be in my pack. Another thing, another 2 items that I consider seasonal is I always have a wool hat and gloves. And in the summertime, I usually don't carry a wool hat and gloves, but right now that it's getting fall and in winter hiking, I always have those in my day pack. And let's see, let's move to my toiletry kit and first aid kit. And both of those items are, my toiletry kit is kept in a C2 Summit 8-liter dry bag. And in that toiletry kit are these items: toilet paper, some form of baby wipes, body glide, a small little trowel, and hand sanitizer. I will say for the most part, though, that my hand sanitizer is actually kept in one of my side pockets on the waist belt of my pack because I like to have that handy at all times. So the toiletry kit, C2 Summit dry bag, 8-liter. And then the first aid kit is also kept in a C2 Summit dry bag, 8-liter capacity, very small. They're actually, those C2 Summit bags are wonderful. And this is basically what is in what I consider first aid for me on a day hike. A mini Bic lighter, a mini Swiss Army knife, Leukotape, various sizes of Band-Aids. And I will say, after this summer when I fell and gashed my knee in Pennsylvania, I did add gauze pads and some blood clotter. I found that blood clotter at REI and just grabbed it and said, yep, I'm going to start carrying that, because that would have been, if it works, it would have helped tremendously when my knee was bleeding this summer. Always have antibiotic ointment, an emergency blanket. So this seems to come in and out of my day pack for some reason, but I have permanently added the emergency blanket back in. And right now I have 2 in there, and they're very small, they're lightweight, and I'm thinking about adding an emergency bivvy instead of the emergency blanket. But right now, 2 emergency blankets just in case something happens. One to wrap around me so I can get warm, and then the other one if I need to create some type of tarp system, if I end up having to put something over me because I need to be out at night. I have the additional one as well. I have rope in case that's needed, insect repellent, which is DEET, chapstick, a self-adhering bandage. This is a bandage. This is another item that I added in for the fall. So this is stuff that they wrap around your arm. Like if you go to give blood, they will clot it with a bandage and then wrap that around, and it's like movable and flexible. I wish I would have had that this summer to put around my knee. When I fell, it would have been of a tremendous help. I've also added some strips of KT tape. Always have Zyrtec, Imodium, Advil, and extra batteries. And the extra batteries are for my headlamp, which is an Energizer headlamp. It is 350 lumen. I am pretty sure I got this headlamp at Lowe's, and I love it. It was like $19.95. No issues. It's waterproof. It has 3 different settings, and it has the red light. So don't underestimate the Energizer headlamps. Another item that I always have with me, especially when I am out on the trail alone, is pepper spray. And I've been carrying pepper spray from the beginning, 2006. And I've never had to use it. I never think about using it. But it is a comfort item for me, so I will always have that. Another item that I added this summer because of COVID-19 is a mask. And that is the Hyperlight face mask. I love those. They're really breathable. Another item that I carry with me is a bandana, and I usually have one, but I've decided going forward, they're really light. I'm going to have two. Let me move down the list here. Oh, always a full day of food, snacks, breakfast, a lunch, and usually something, if something happened in an emergency situation, extra bars or something, so I have food if I have to stay out on trail overnight. So enough food for a 24-hour period. I always have some type of electrolyte, and usually it is Noon. That is N-U-U-N. They are awesome. If you haven't tried those, I do recommend those. I usually have, well, not usually, I always have my hiking pole, which is a Black Diamond carbon fiber hiking pole. And I've had that pole. I think I bought this set of poles back in 2009, 2010, but I do only carry one pole. And always there is duct tape wrapped around my hiking pole. And it is orange duct tape, specifically for like hunting season, or more specifically for when I stab my pole down in the ground if I'm going off to use the restroom or something like that. Having that orange duct tape on there is key, because I can always look back and identify my pole. And then this is another thing I learned over the years, and you guys probably know this, but I always, when I go off to use the restroom, I always have my pole facing the direction that I need to be hiking when I come back. It's just something I do, and something that helps me on the trail. Wherever I'm hiking, whether it's in Western North Carolina, on local trails, and those of you that have hiked with me, you always know I have trail maps, the paper map, some type of guidebook, whether I've taken a picture of that or actually have the guidebook itself. Always have a compass, and probably going to have something on my phone, whether it's Gut Hook, All Trails, or Gaia. I like to have all that. My current phone that I am using is the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And when I'm out doing long day hikes, I have the Apple Smart Battery Case, which basically gives the phone another full day charge. And as much as possible, I try to keep my phone on airplane mode to save all the battery life as possible. And because I have literally ruined probably 3 or 4 phones out on the trail. I've lost a phone. I lost the phone out on the Foothills Trail a couple years ago. I always have the Z-Packs phone zip pouch. I love this pouch, especially when it starts raining. So I am like a freak about my phone when it starts raining. I always put it in a Ziploc bag, and I always put it in that Z-Packs phone zip pouch. And I've learned a lesson the hard way, like I said, because I have ruined a couple phones because of the rain, and I've also lost phones. And these days they're getting really expensive, so I don't want to keep doing that. And I will say the last item is I also have the Z-Packs wallet. I love this little thing. I always have identification, which is, typically a driver's license. I always carry a credit card. I do not carry a debit card. I carry a credit card, and I always have a little bit of cash. And I know some people think, I don't carry cash. There's a controversy about carrying cash, but I always have some on me in case I need to get a shuttle or whatever happens. In case, hey, there might be a vending machine somewhere and I want to get something out of that. So in a nutshell, these items that I just went over are what I carry on a typical day hike. Learned all this, like I said before, from taking adventure race classes and from the New Hampshire Game and Wildlife Rescue. And I'm going to add to the show notes the New Hampshire list of required items when you hike in New Hampshire. So hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Please keep in mind that I truly 100% believe that gear is personal. And you could line 10 packs up and have 10 different hikers, and they would have 10 different setups in their day hike gear. So just wanted to share what I carry and what I think is important. Hope you all have enjoyed this, and I will be chatting back with you guys real soon. Before I sign off for the week, I just wanted to let you guys know that all of the information, all of the gear that I went over in this episode of What's in Jester's Day Pack will be in the show notes, listed out with the name of the gear and the brand, and pictures of what the gear looked like laid out all over my table on my back deck, and pictures of the pack with everything packed inside of it. And you can find all of that information over on our newly updated and looking website at hikingradionetwork.com. You can also take a look at all of our other shows that fall under the Hiking Radio Network. You can subscribe to each one or your favorite. You can donate to your favorite show, and you can get on our email list. So when we send out information, you can be the first to know. As always, everybody, I'm out of breath. I'm going uphill. Thanks for listening, and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I go wandering with you, what kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into. Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way, if you ever get lost or if the trail leads you astray. The music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money, a Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.